check on you. Guess what? I have nobody to ever call and check on me. I call and check on her every day. Man, all that. I call her and check on her every day. Yeah, she ready to get up now.
The dynamic environment of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is frequently centered on conflict and personal issues, but Season 12, Episode 15 takes an unexpected turn that shocks both viewers and cast members. Lil Scrappy, the protagonist of the program, is notorious for his unpredictable behavior and turbulent relationships. His shocking announcement was unexpected. The play's opening revelation ultimately jeopardizes their hard-won family and upends his already tumultuous marriage to Bambi. Since they are dedicated to co-parenting and keeping up their busy routines, Bambi and Lil Scrappy appear to enjoy a normal day despite their ups and downs. As they try to concentrate on their family bonds and spend time with their kids, a peaceful moment swiftly devolves into a fury, but something deeper is boiling behind closed doors. Well known for his bravery and tenacity, Scrappy discusses a recent unexpected discovery that has completely upended his existence. His credit report shows a series of increasingly questionable transactions that he cannot recall making. He initially dismisses the charges, believing that there may have been a mistake or perhaps a bank blunder, but they gradually reach his attention as they continue to grow in frequency and quantity. Each one was more startling than the others, yet not in large enough numbers. A small purchase here, a dubious transaction there, but the total quickly rises to an astounding $1 million. The truth shocks Scrappy. His suspicion that his card must have been stolen is accurate. His bank account information might have been accessed by a friend or acquaintance. But when he looks into the allegations more, he finds a troubling pattern. All of them are connected to his wife, Bambi, rather than being the product of unknown people or sporadic sources. The information is seen by Scrappy as a betrayal. What is someone so familiar with? He recalls times when he had let his guard down and let Bambi access his bank accounts so she could handle crisis or financial difficulties. He never imagined that those small acts of trust would be so viciously used against him, and what he has learned has caused him a great deal of emotional distress. Trust is being betrayed, and more than just money is at stake here. Bambi had secretly spent $1 million, so it wasn't just a little here and there. Or arrangement Scrappy's face conveys his sadness as he breaks the devastating news to his closest friends and family. Most of them express a single clear message, although some appear shocked or indignant. Despite their recommendation to seek legal counsel and take immediate action to safeguard his assets, Scrappy is reluctant to disclose his private life to the world, particularly when his children are involved, but he intends to do so at all costs. Notwithstanding his internal conflict, Scrappy decides to talk to Bambi, and they have a conversation about the matter. The room is clearly tense. Scrappy turns to confront Bambi, who initially appears to be oblivious to the dire circumstances, and his heart begins to race. His poise only serves to reinforce his perception of total deceit when Scrappy shows him the bank statements that indicate the rising expenses. Bambi's face and her eyes enlarge with amazement as she pauses to consider what Scrappy is claiming she did. The seriousness of the situation makes it seem oppressive between them. At first, Bambi denies all of this, saying that something went wrong. Scrappy's proof is undeniable, even in the event of misunderstandings. Every transaction, every payment, all signs point to her as the fight heats up. As her initial awe phase and the consequences of her actions become evident, Bambi sobs and informs Scrappy that the money was given in response to a request for assistance rather than out of malice or greed. She acknowledged feeling overwhelmed and alone, not just with Scrappy, as she struggled to balance her personal issues, her husband's demands, and her children's responsibilities. Bambi's escape technique was spending because she thought it would give her a moment's respite from the stress she was experiencing and a sense of control over a world that occasionally felt uncontrollable. She was hurt, disillusioned, and difficult to understand, even if the shopping spree was a protest against the mental upheaval she had been going through. He says he doesn't understand how she could so completely betray his trust, taking not only the money, but also his trust and sense of security in their relationship. As Scrappy and Bambi attempt to handle the fallout from the revelation, the situation gets a little more heated. Bambi confesses, with tears in her eyes, that she was caught in a terrible cycle of emotional suffering and self-doubt and never meant to hurt him. Scrappy is still cautious and skeptical despite the hard reality. Despite his wanting to think that Bambi is sorry, he feels that their trust has been damaged since the woman he thought he knew and loved violated him in an unimaginable way. Until the very end of the program, Scrappy continues to feel this sense of ambiguity, which leaves him feeling emotionally depleted and unsure of his future. Will their turbulent relationship come to an end, or will he be able to be married and move on from Bambi? However, Bambi has to face the repercussions of her behavior. Along with dealing with the fallout from her confession, hip-hop enthusiasts and fans now have to acknowledge that Scrappy's decisions have put all she has fought so hard to achieve in jeopardy. No matter how much time goes by, Scrappy and Bambi's path together will undoubtedly change. Everybody in Atlanta is worried about this unforeseen incident, wondering how they will handle the fallout and whether their romance will endure this issue or if it is the end of their story.
That's what you are. Mike, you one thing. You're mad about that. Bitch, you're second best. He followed me to the Dominican Republic. You know that hoe. He proposed to me first. He wanted to be with me. He wanted to marry me. I left.
Let's see if he's what you
I left.
Why are you still arguing about your baby daddy?
You're second best. Who do you want to do? When I see you in the street, just know. Oh, bitch, right the fuck in, bitch. No, bitch. You know I don't like you, bitch.
Oh, is it a fight?
Girl, what? Who am I doing?
Let me out. You ain't gonna do
I ain't paid by insurance yet.
When they get down to talk about it, Scrappy decides to talk to Bambi in spite of his internal tensions. The room has a tense atmosphere. Scrappy looks at Bambi, who initially appears to be utterly oblivious to the gravity of the situation and whose heart is racing. Her calmness further heightens his sense of deceit when Scrappy shows him the bank statements that indicate the growing expenses. Bambi's expression changes, and her eyes enlarge with astonishment as she processes everything. Bambi initially maintained that everything had to have been misinterpreted, but Scrappy's evidence is indisputable with each charge and outlay. As the truth of the situation dawns on them, the stillness between them becomes oppressive. As the battle heats up, every indication points to her. After Scrappy's first shock subsides and the consequences of her actions become evident, Bambi breaks down in tears and offers an absurd excuse. Bambi, she struggled to balance the obligations of being a wife, having children, and taking care of personal concerns, and she admitted to feeling exhausted and cut off from everyone and everything, including Scrappy. It was a cry for assistance rather than a spiteful or greedy use of funds. Spending was Bambi's escape strategy because she believed it would provide her a sense of control in a world that frequently looked uncontrollable and a brief respite from the stress she was experiencing.